Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. We have a blockbuster final preview to get into. Mirra Andreeva versus Aryna Sabalenka. We're going to be predicting how this one's going to go, and I mean it's a phenomenal match to talk about. Before we do get into it, remember to hit that like button, do subscribe if you're new, and do leave a rating or review if you're listening on a podcast platform. Also, shout out to our members, and on top of that, do get that notification bell to get alerted to any new uploads. So number one seed, number one player in the world, Aryna Sabalenka, comes up against 17-year-old prodigy Mirra Andreeva, who has dismantled everyone that's come in her way since the start of Dubai. She is the in-form player right now, it's fair to say. And Sabalenka's looked very good after a disappointing Dubai for her and Qatar as well. She's found some real form at Indian Wells, which has been really good to see. Head-to-head is 4-1 in favour of Aryna. And she did lose to Andreeva, but it was last year at Roland Garros. It was a very close match. 6-7, 6-4, 6-4. Aryna was also struggling with some illness there as well, I think it's fair to say. But since that match, Andreeva has grown, literally and figuratively, because her game has grown, but she has also grown herself. She's only 17, of course. Sabalenka has, I think, continued to be the type of player that we've expected, and won the Australian Open, made the final of the Australian Open even, and the level is been there to a degree. I don't think she's been playing her best this year, but at Indian Wells, I would say actually she starts to find her best form, and the results, I think, prove that. She's actually played Andreeva twice this year already, both times on hard courts, but on fast hard courts. I think that's a very important point even to point out. 6-3, 6-2 in Brisbane in the semi-finals, round of 16 of the Australian Open. Sabalenka also won 6-1, 6-2. Look, I mean, it's an interesting one because if you'd asked me this before Dubai, I would have said to you Sabalenka wins in straight sets and really comfortably. But since the start of Dubai, something's happened with Mirra. She's had the game since the start of the year, I think. And obviously, as I said, she's grown figuratively and also literally. But there's been a change, I think, in not just tactics, but I think in the mindset and the level, and it's all clicked. Just suddenly clicked for her. The serve is, I mean, it's one of the biggest on tour, the first serve now, and the second, I mean, it's massive. If you think about where it was a year ago, it's completely different. I mean, she's up there now with, she's almost, I don't know if she's at the same level, but she's very close, especially in terms of just pure power with Sabalenka and Rybakina on serve, which is crazy to say at 17 years of age. And off the ground as well, she's keeping up with these guys. I mean, she's beaten Swiatek and Rybakina both at Indian Wells and in Dubai. So that's ridiculous. In the last month, she's beaten Swiatek and Rybakina twice each. I mean, that's not a joke. And then if we look at her run, she's beaten Gracheva, Towson, Rybakina, Svitolina. The only person she dropped a set against was against Swiatek, where she won 7-6-1, 6-6-3. I mean, phenomenal performance from her. Then against Sabalenka, even, she's been even better. She hasn't dropped a single set and barely any games. 7-6, 6-3 Kessler, 6-1, 6-2 Bronzetti, Cartel 6-1, 6-2, Samsonova 6-2, 6-3, and then Madison Keys was this is an absolute beatdown. Sabalenka lost to Keys, of course, at the Australian Open final. What a match that was. Keys played an unreal level. Sabalenka took it to decider. Keys took it, rightly so. She played so well on the day. Sabalenka clearly wanted revenge. She clearly had lit a fire under her. And she only dropped a single game. I mean, ridiculous against a player who's been so in form in Madison Keys. She's only lost one match before that semi-final. This year, that is. Unreal. So we now have this final on our hands. Look, I mean, in the past, I think, and even earlier this year, Sabalenka, I think, has overpowered Andreeva. She struggled to really handle, excuse me, the pure, clean, powerful ball striking of Sabalenka, and she's been out-muscled really from the back of the court. And Sabalenka's blown her off the court even, sorry. The biggest thing as well, I think, for me is on the second serve, because in the past, it's a lot of players. And also in this tournament, Sabalenka just completely murders the second serve. It's a real problem for her opponents, because she puts so much pressure on that second serve that you feel like you need to make a first serve. So sometimes people take a bit off or they go for more. And either way, it tends to then go one or two ways. Either they make it work and make a lot more first serves and it's more potent, great. Or they miss more first serves, or they might make more first serves, but actually the first serve they make is not got as much on it. It's more into the striking zone, and then Sabalenka then starts attacking that as well. So it's a real difficult position to be as a server when your opponent as a returner is just so aggressive and so effective off the second serve return. And Sabalenka is that. For Mirra Andreeva, though, the one positive she has is that she's got a pretty good kick serve. And on this surface, it just means that you have a bit more safety, because Sabalenka, she might still take the ball early, but she's going to have to take the ball early at very awkward heights at times. So that'll be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out. Sabalenka hasn't been serving a lot of aces, but she's winning a lot of points on first serve and second serve, and her kick serve's good as well. From the back of the court, Mirra's going to have to utilise variety really well, which she has done in the last two tournaments. So the forehand slice is going to be crucial, but it needs to be deep enough. It needs to knife it at times as well. She's going to utilise it. And then she needs to try and stick with Sabalenka at the back of the court and not give up too much of the baseline by moving too far back. And Sabalenka, we know, is going to hit really clean through the court. So I think Andreeva is just going to have to be very, very clean with her own play. Limit the errors. Try and stick with Sabalenka. Make her play the extra ball. And then actually, I think the drop shot is going to be quite useful for Andreeva, actually. For Sabalenka, she can utilise, but Andreeva is very quick. Very quick. I don't know how much success she'll have with it. I guess unless she's pushing Andreeva back behind the baseline because she's able to be on the front foot, drag her out wide even, then that shot could be useful. Sabalenka might come forward to the net, but I'm not sure about that because I've seen Andreeva picking up people on the net really easily. So if she's going to do it, Sabalenka, she needs to be sure it's the right ball to come forward to. And Andreeva's been very good, especially off the second serve herself. So that second serve return dynamic, as I said, is going to be interesting. I think in terms of how it's going to play out, it's actually tough to say because I think the Andreeva we've seen earlier this year is different to the Andreeva we're seeing now. A much better version, I think it's fair to say. If she beats Sabalenka, this is one of the all-time runs. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go with Andreeva to win and beat Sabalenka in the final in 3 sets. It's a big call because I actually think Sabalenka is playing unbelievably well right now. And she's probably the safe call, but there's just something about Andreeva right now. She seems like she's so determined and focused. I think she might actually make it happen and win 2 Masters in a row. Let me know in the comment section below what you think and why. Thanks very much, guys. Stay safe and well, and we'll see you in the next video.